Good Yontif Chag Sameach. Every year on Simchat Torah, I have the honor of reading the last words of the Torah before we scroll it back and begin all over again in Cantor Meisner chants Bereshit bara Elohim. The last verses of our Torah act as a kind of yizkor for Moses. There it is written, Moses, the servant of the Eternal, died there in the land of Moab at the command of the Eternal. God buried him in the valley in the land of Moab, and no one knows where his burial place is to this very day. Moses was 120 years old when he died. His eyes were undimmed and his vigor unabated. The Israelites bewailed Moses on the steppes of Moab for 30 days, for Shloshim. Never again did there arise in Israel a prophet like Moses, who the Eternal singled out face to face, panim el panim. Singled out face to face, panim el panim. That was the pinnacle of his life story on Mount Sinai. 40 days and 40 nights there. Moses reached spiritual heights there, being in God's company. Throughout the month of Elul, we are told, all the way through Rosh Hashanah and the 10 days of repentance, and then on Yom Kippur he descended. On the mountaintop there he found intellectual heights as well. According to legend, he wrote the entire Torah scroll. He shaped every letter according to God's instruction, and even the delicate crowns that he fashioned on top of some of those letters were according to God's design. Legend has it that he wrote that Torah with black ink and with light. The black ink was used to create 304,805 letters on the parchment, and the ink of light was used to create the white spaces around the letters. To this very day, we study the letters made of black ink, and we read around the letters as well, because those letters of light come to illuminate the letters of black ink. We do this with interpretation and imagination, with intention and activation. That is how we study the white letters around the black letters. An artist might call the white light on the parchment the negative spaces. But we who love and live Torah say it is all positive, radiant ink, which brings the black letters to dance on the parchment until they are lifted upwards, Godwards, and elevate everything and everyone who comes to know their power. If you come tonight for Simchat Torah, as I hope you will, 7 o'clock, we'll gather here and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We and our children and our grandchildren will dance our 12 precious Torah scrolls around our sanctuary for 7 hakafot. The joyful parade is evidence of the inspiration that we take from the black letters and, yes, also from those radiant white letters as well. Together, with a little rabbinic imagination, those letters together add up to 600,000. The same number of souls said to be standing at the foot of the mountain, ready to receive Torah for the very first time. Our grade 1 consecration students will have that same radiant glow when they receive their little baby Torahs for the first time tonight. Consecration is just about one of the sweetest things we do here at Holy Blossom. How many here were consecrated, here or elsewhere? Nice. And how many of you still know where that little Torah scroll is kept? Yeah, me too. Back in Massachusetts, special drawer. It is written that when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, he was unaware of it, but his face was glowing, radiant with light, Karen Or, beaming with light from speaking with God. 900 years ago or so, Rabbi Yoshua ben Nachman asks, where did that radiant light come from? After Moses spoke to God panim el panim, face to face. And he answers his own question, saying, when Moses completed the act of writing the sacred Torah scroll, with all those black letters and all those letters of light, the black ink was completely used up. It was a perfect amount. But there was one extra drop of the ink of light. And God planned it that way, of course. Moses asked God, what should be done with this last glowing ink of light? And God, who is the finest artist of all, used that little orb of light and placed it like a crown encircling Moses' face. And so it is written, when he came down the mountain, he was unaware that his face was radiant with light from speaking with God. Building on this scene, the Khatam Sofer from 19th century Hungary teaches that it's this way with all the righteous. Every one of us, righteous or otherwise, is given just the right amount of black ink. But for the righteous, God, who is Rachum v'Chanun, compassionate and gracious, endlessly patient, loving, and true, provides an extra drop of the white radiant ink, the ink of light, to crown the righteous with the ability to illuminate the world long after they are gone from it. And that's where Yizkor comes in. The space around the letter isn't easily seen. It's often overlooked, but it is constant and true. And those white letters of light enable the black letters to be seen. Similarly, a departed soul enables others to be seen. In fact, one of the laws which guides a scribe when he or she takes up the quill to write a Torah scroll specifies that each black letter must have white space all around it. And if a letter lacks the surrounding white letters, that is, if two black letters are connected somehow, not giving proper form to the white letter around it, then the entire scroll is invalid and cannot be read from for ritual purposes until it is repaired. That's how important are the white letters surrounding the black. It is written of Moses that when he came down the mountain, the God-given light was so radiant from his face that people actually turned away. And it's like this sometimes with the dead. People often turn away from them because it's just too painful. But we who miss them and long to speak their names and long to hear their names, we want to see their faces in our mind's eye. And so for just a moment, we call up that brightness so that we can feel their nearness again. We come to this sacred place on this sacred day for a moment of public and private Yizkor. We've come to remember those who made us who we are. Their influence, their guiding wisdom, their love is the white space around the black letters that we are. We recognize this day that they are the ones who allow us to be seen clearly in this world. Just as the black letters depend on the white light around them to be able to show up in the world, our beloved dead are the constant glow behind us, in front of us, above us, below us, and yes, even within us. Without them to give us shape and form, there would be no us. They may be silent letters now, but like the beautifully crafted letters of light, the black letters, we, can make the sounds that call attention to their light. Our noise in this world can be an echo of them. Because they are with us, because they are still very close to us, we can create words and chapters and books and fill them with life and fill them with goodness and meaning and sacred purpose as they wish for us. We've come today to thank them. We've come this day to remember them, to reread their words and their chapters and their book of life. We've come this day to honor what they have written. In their lifetimes, Yizkor is when, just as God lovingly took up that drop of light and crowned Moses with radiance, so we do the same for our beloveds. We come today to honor their glow, to caress their faces with a new light, and to bask in that radiance, and to invite them to illuminate our lives, even now.